Guys, Alright, guys, I promised you that I'd be right back where I said I was gonna be, so here I am. Oh, jeez. Oh, apparently, so my video went through, but I don't know what's going on. But it's giving me a hard time, so hopefully I'll start figuring it out. But this is episode 2, guys, so we're gonna play for a little bit longer.
Heart be pure, evil be erased, mind be purged, world be...
Get my controller all set up.
I always forget that last
do
part.
These in 30 minute or well, shoot, you never know how long I'm gonna do it, to be completely honest. So here we go, episode 2. Where are we even going?
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something?
It's not bad.
Or perhaps there's something you want to inquire about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it?
And the reason why you hear people in the
Perhaps you're
background
here
is
to
'cause
pay
I'm
off
at
his
work.
debts.
Whoa! Let's
Double
not
job
get
on this.
ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where they all came from. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his own account. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started writing out IOUs to cover whatever he couldn't afford of the usual amount.
So that's how he was getting those emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing all the emergency provisions at his own expense. And no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained and held him accountable.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody cares to think twice. If you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe backlash now. Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, I'm still not too clear myself. If you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was recently confiscated. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is so dear to him.
Sword? What sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. He's carried it for years now. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to sell. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price, at least that's what I think. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answers you're looking for. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's bill.
But we didn't buy anything.
Information is also a kind of commodity, wouldn't you agree? Don't worry, I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was
At least we now know where the emergency provisions are coming from. we found out that Kurosawa has a priceless sword in his possession. Let's go talk to Kurosawa again and see if he can remember anything.
Alright. So a few things you need to know about this game. I know I'm like halfway through the game right now, but that's so that you guys can experience the game yourself. The beginning's really awesome. You can start playing multiplayer with people at level 16. You get all kinds of cool weapons and people. Like, you're never not going to have fun with this game. So if you want to get involved in you're more than welcome to add me as a friend on here on Genshin Impact, and maybe we'll play together someday.
I ride on wind and cloud alike.
Dude, I also would like to state that I have multiple people going to be joining the channel soon. Sam Soul Samurai is going to be joining us. On top of Baylele. Oops.
What are you doing here all by yourself? Where did those other two go?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. They left. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything I said was true, right?
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions, but they were all purchased at your own expense.
Strange.
At least help me
Is that
when we get
really
back
the
on
kind of
ship,
person I
so
was? I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me, I still don't remember anything. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? I really don't understand. But I cannot deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense this sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended up catching me in the act and scolded me severely. What did he say? I can't seem to remember that either. It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So many memories gone. Forever. No matter how hard I try to remember, all I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed. Before he passed away, he placed the sword in my hands and said to me, "With this sword, you should..."
Hey, if you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you recognize the words?
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain everything now. Taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after all. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. And look how things ended up. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help refused to understand me. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his expenses. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul.
I wonder if I have enough for a wish finally. I do. Are you guys ready for a pull? Let's go. Dang it. Oh, Chongyun again.
Would that be its own filter to you?
No, it needs a coffee filter in there.
Alright.
I got him again. And this guy's gonna be so OP. Nice. Getting close to almost maxing this guy out. And I got 1 million more now. Jeez. Wait, what's that? My own path. I do not follow the line.
The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous sword master around these parts. Paimon heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. Sounds pretty impressive. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end, didn't he?
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never shaken him. This time, though...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place, he'll be right as rain in no time.
Hey there! Did something happen?
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of here immediately! Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. It's the whole reason we came all this way, to seek him out and ask him to train us. But then we got here and overheard you talking about how he got possessed or something?
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look like you're from around here. Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently that we're on high alert. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. He's not able to take on any new disciples for the time being. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation to you in a little more detail. Then you can decide whether to stay or to leave. Sensei's name is Domo, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominent sword masters, never losing a single fight. He once said that his goal was to become the best sword master in the world. And so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art.
That's why I was gonna
His
detail.
fervor truly
Like,
inspired
he's
us,
the only one
and we
that
trained
gets
hard,
grease everywhere.
determined to keep up with him.
It's okay. We
But
all
then-
work as a team.
Still online?
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He hasn't been the same
It's my job
since.
to be here.
He says the strangest things over and over, and he refuses to let us train.
Calm down.
Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. So we've asked the shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine to perform an exorcism. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely recover.
The Grand Narukami Shrine? What's that?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty Shogun herself. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should come back this evening and see for ourselves.
It's hot.
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any earlier. You would have had to witness Sensei in one of his fits of madness. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, she heard him whispering a few names to
The
himself.
storyline is ridiculous.
When she asked him who the people were,
Sometimes.
he suddenly looked panic-stricken and pushed her away.
Like that.
It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him with bloodshot eyes. All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew, others we didn't recognize. But they all seemed to be the names of sword masters he had defeated in the past. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's, his senior, in fact. But Sensei defeated him in a duel many years ago, and he has been a wanderer ever since. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. Thankfully, the shrine maidens managed to subdue him, so the exorcism can finally continue. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Here's hoping Sensei will be back to his normal self very soon. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is sure to be thirsty.
No.
Were you waiting on me? Is that why you're still out here? Were you waiting on me? To give you your meds? Oh, you're good. You can go to bed if you want
No, I don't want to. I'm not
Oh, okay.
tired.
Huh?
You're all
Fuck that,
good.
that freaking, you know.
Who's that sneaking around? Uh-oh. Could they be here to mess up the exorcism? We won't let them get away with it. Come on, let's go after them.
I shouldn't be like acting like I woke up sick.
Don't you dare get sick. Not allowed.
I wish.
Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up?
You don't want to stay with us for 2 weeks?
No, I'm good. I mean, the pay would probably be good, but
All I gotta do is touch you.
Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little
that's how
further
easy
up.
it is.
No.
Aha! Suspicious person sighted! That's gotta be...
How did you catch up with
Easy
me
when I walked up here.
so quickly?
Look, I didn't even
Are
swear.
you sure you're Domon's disciples? You move even quicker than he does. Unless... I guess it's been a few years. Maybe his skills have improved again.
Excuse me? We're the ones asking the questions here. First off, Who are you? And what are you doing sneaking around these parts? You seem like bad news, mister!
Get him,
Bad
Paimon.
news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day. Long before you ever showed up.
Say who hates and who loves
I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am Domon's senior.
His senior? Wait, that means you must be...
Anzai. Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever again. When we were young, we trained under the same sword master, studying Make-Yoshi Sui art together. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as a steady and dependable older disciple. Practitioners of Make-Yoshi Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. So the majority of disciples are indifferent to rank and reward. I was no exception. But Domon was different.
Watching that show.
The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile on his face, how to become the best in the world. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends.
Triple H.
Sensei said that coveting the title of the best sword master, barely days into his training, showed that he had a fickle mind, and that this would impede him from ever mastering the blade. I thought so too at the time, but Domon began making swift progress in his training, and even started catching up with me. Only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed his mind from all agitation. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less than perfection in the art of the sword, and nothing could deter him from this goal, no matter what stood in his way.
Sure sounds like he meant business. So how come you don't want to ever see him again?
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master of Make-Yoshi Sui art. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Everyone had high expectations from me. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. I fled the dojo that day and never looked back. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and unfortunately that match used up every last ounce of energy in his body. After that, I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down, though, I still respected his mastery of the blade and his commitment to the art of the sword.
I'll do my best.
So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to dismiss them as false. How could he, of all people, have lost his mind? His mind was the sharpest of them all. He had practiced Make-Yoshi Sui art to perfection. I decided to quietly come and see if it were true.
I'll do my
Then,
best to do
to
an
my
hour
complete
of
astonishment,
these.
I heard
Get
him
along.
call my name. I thought mine was a name he had long since forgotten. So you see, I came here not to cause him any harm. I just wanted to see for myself. Okay, you've heard my story. You should get back now. The exorcism is probably finishing.
Seems like we got it wrong this time. He wasn't here to mess up the exorcism at all. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us. Let's go see how the exorcism's coming along.
What? You're saying he isn't possessed? Does that mean that he's just lost his mind? But how is that possible? No, I refuse to believe it. Something's clearly wrong.
Nanako, please, try not to get agitated.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any malignant spirit having possessed Domon. But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, I dare not rule out possession with complete certainty. And all is certainly not lost, for I received word not long ago that Lady Yai has taken an interest in your sensei's case.
Lady Yai? Is that the same Lady Yai that I think you mean?
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news! Then Sensei will be sure to recover.
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed, and has abundant experience in the exorcism of evil spirits and aversion of great calamities. I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei, but Lady Yai can give a conclusive verdict.
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare a greeting gift for Lady Yai?
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. Lady Yai does not like to be kept waiting. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine. I wish Domon a full and speedy recovery.
Jesus.
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sensei's case?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady Yai's attention?
No, that's not what I meant at all. You misunderstand me. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty Shogun herself. Anyway, you should join us too, tomorrow. Given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei.
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited about Lady Yai. We're curious to meet her too. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the Raiden children from her.
This place is beautiful. I love it up here. Look how high up we are. I climbed all the way up these friggin' stairs.
Do you think that's Lady Yai? Oh, no wonder Junyo is so excited. She has a really striking presence.
Turn that down just a little bit. I don't want to get copyright banned. That would suck.
Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look right at us just now? It was probably nothing. It's not like she's ever seen us before.
Keep away. Keep away from me. I gave up the art of the sword. Please, let me go, I beg you.
As you can see, Lady Yai, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appears to see those who have lost to him in duels past, gathered all around him to persecute him.
Lady Yai, it must be a possession, right? This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would always face it with a confident smile.
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any evil spirit.
But then does that mean he...
Yes. This is a change in the person himself. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally descended into madness. As one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament, it does nothing to prevent his descent into the depths. As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped of one's ambition.
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yi, even without his ambition, why should he suffer such a dramatic change? How does that explain his descent into madness?
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it not?
So you can go to bed.
Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any in this world could ever hope to achieve it. There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was an aged swordmaster who was aggrieved enough that he crossed blades with a disciple he himself had taught. Then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both? Can one truly remain unagitated, of still mind in moments such as these?
Lady, I'm not sure I understand.
The path of the Swordmaster is filled with twists and turns. It is no small undertaking to pursue the position of greatest Swordmaster in the world. It requires one to take their sword firmly in both hands and cut down the hopes and dreams of others, even those of one's closest companions. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain of these encounters, to focus on the way ahead. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he battled his growing anxiety, he slowly descended into the state you see him in now. Much like a certain fatally flawed friend of mine.
Poor Sensei. To think he's been suffering so greatly.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Father, Sensei, Anzai.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that Anzai? Where did he come from? Did he follow us the whole way here?
Anzai, why are there two of you? Is that you or a ghost? You're here for revenge, aren't you? I knew it would come. I never should have.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far from kindly. But I didn't come here to settle a score. It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. You did nothing wrong that day. I couldn't face the humiliation. That's why I ran. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, when you cut our ambitions short, we entrusted them to you, in the hopes that they might carry you further. Now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer, since you've been stripped of your ambitions too. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword all the way to the highest peak. You taught them that, didn't you?
But what if one day, the same thing happens to them? I put everything I had into trying to become the best. But what if it was all a huge mistake right from the start? If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any further down this path.
Have you asked them what they think?
Sensei, after you rescued me from the hands of the pirates, I told myself I would follow in your footsteps for the rest of my days. I can't know whether I will suffer in my future as you do now. All I know is that here and now, in the present, I wish to continue. I want to keep going until the day that I can stand before everyone with my head held high and announce that I, like my sensei Domon before me, am a master of Meikyo Shisui art.
Nanako's far from the only one. Actually, all of us think that way.
Goodness. Well,
You see? You can place the ambition you once had in their hands. Being stripped of your ambition is something that's never happened to me, so I can't claim to understand it. But I do know what it feels like to have your ambitions crushed. That's what happened on the day that you so effortlessly defeated me. So, just as I once placed my ambitions onto you, it is time for you to release yours into their custody. You are not in the same position that I was. When I left, I had nothing to my name. But you have a great number of worthy disciples.
I understand. I'm sorry to have made you worry for me, and for the state of Meikyo Shisui art. I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. The emptiness and suffering inside of me will not abate, so I cannot hope to still my mind and be free of agitation. But as your sensei, I shall commit to imparting unto you everything I have learned in my life so far. This is my promise. And I humbly ask Anzai, my senior, to hold me to my word.
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally anyway, just to make sure you hadn't lost your mind again. But I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore, so I will simply stop by once in a while to make sure you aren't cutting any corners with them. Well, don't just stand there staring at me.
What do you do?
Say thank you to Lady Yai and then get yourself back home.
No,
What?
it's just like I can't keep my progress when I move it in there. You know?
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take it over on his behalf. Guess that sort of solves this one, huh?
Traveler, a moment, please. Lady Yai has some words for you.
So, my intuition was correct. The wind that blows from afar carries fresh life to these shores. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you.
Ooh, Lady Yai seems to have taken a real she seems super mysterious.
Oops, sorry. I got antsy.
Narukami, please. See that he stays safe.
God, this game is beautiful. I had to climb all the way up that.
Oh, Ayaka! Guess who fulfilled all your wishes? Huh? Ayaka! Huh?
Yeah, after this, I'm probably gonna go to bed. I'm tired.
Traveler, Paimon, It is a pleasure to finally meet you both face to face. I have heard all about how you helped our 3 friends. My sincerest thanks to you.
I want to go. Every time I get
Yeah.
on that, I'm gonna start streaming.
Short of getting them their visions back, it seems like there's no way to really help them. Ayaka, how come this time
Like
you
and
get to
subscribe.
come out
Love
and
y'all.
meet us in person?
Because now that you have done the 3 things I asked of you, I consider you to be my friends. As you will observe, I dispense with the screen for Toma also.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, wait a second. But isn't Toma your, servant? Paimon's happy to help and all, but Paimon sure as heck did not sign up to be a servant.
Oh, Paimon, you are most entertaining. Toma is first and foremost my friend, and was so before he ever became my attendant.
Oh, okay then. Ayaka, you seem pretty different out in the open.
Thank you both kindly. Back to the matter at hand. You have now witnessed the pain of those deprived of their visions. What are your feelings on what you have seen? Perhaps in the eyes of a deity such as the almighty Shogun, the lives of those who inhabit the world are inconsequential. Thunders roar, lightnings flash, the winds assault, and the rains descent. All these things take place with no regard for the feelings of the common people. But I believe that surely you understand what they must endure. It seems that perhaps now you can appreciate my feelings on all of this. In which case, perhaps you would be willing to reconsider your stance?
I want to see if I can.
You will? Really?
When I get in there.
We can always do it tomorrow too, but
Naturally.
Keeping up with it and working on it.
All right, bravo, my lady. You were right all along.
See? I told you he wouldn't reject them. I'd placed my trust in the right person after all. Now then, given that the remainder of our discussion pertains to matters of a more confidential nature, perhaps we could move to the Komori Tea House? We ought not to involve other members of the Yashiro Commission.
Well, here we are again.
Please continue without me. I'll keep watch.
So, what's the deal with this place anyway? What makes it your favorite meeting spot?
This is land that was gifted to the Yashiro Commission by the Shogun. The Kamisato clan has the exclusive right to plan, build, and repair any property on this land, and even to allow or deny access. Such privileges exist due to the Yashiro Commission's role in managing ceremonial affairs. Oftentimes, it is not appropriate to discuss details in front of bystanders.
Oh, Paimon gets it. Gotta keep a bit of mystery, right?
Once the number of ceremonial affairs conducted in the city began to decline, our forebears built a tea house here. Only members of the Yashiro Commission are permitted to come and go as they please.
Makes sense. Perfect place for a secret base.
In any case, we can talk freely here. I presume you have a few questions that you wish to ask me? The almighty Shogun.
What do you need help with?
I've seen her on but only a few occasions. Most of them formal ceremonies.
Making sure I
She inspires awe, commands respect, and exudes a sense of absolute authority. But as I recall, there was something else about her that struck me even more deeply. It was her almost complete lack of any emotion. In that sense, she appeared to me to be less of a ruler and more of, well, an executive official, I suppose. Focused exclusively on her single goal of implementing eternity, acting accordingly without feeling. The issue is this. For the vast majority of people, the Vision Hunt Decree is something that has no implications whatsoever. After all, it is but a tiny minority of people who receive visions. Moreover, it is not unknown for visions to spark jealousy in others. Because of this, the attitude of most people towards the Vision Hunt decree is one of indifference.
How can they be like that? Paimon's getting mad.
Nevertheless, in addition to us, there is also the resistance on Watatsumi Island.
Resistance? You mean like an army fighting against the decree?
Yes. Many who have lost or fear losing their visions have rallied together under Sangonomiya on Watatsumi Island to form a resistance group. To say a little more about Sangonomiya, historically, there has always been some conflict between them and the shogunate of Narukami Island due to their different belief systems. But I do wonder whether there may be some other agenda behind their resistance movement, beyond merely fighting the Vision Hunt decree. Of course! We have tried on numerous occasions. Unfortunately, each time a proposal to repeal the decree arrives at Tenshukaku, it is promptly vetoed by both the Tenryou Commission and the Kanjo Commission, and subsequently scrapped. They invariably adopt a stance of unconditional support for the Shogun's decisions. They have no interest in discussing anything. It almost makes one wonder whether they had a hand in the Shogun's sudden decision to issue the Vision Hunt decree.
Ooh, Paimon has a question though.
Oh? What would you like to know, Paimon?
Have you got a plan yet to fight the Vision Hunt decree?
To be honest, we do not.
What?
Please, do not forget that challenging the Vision Hunt decree is tantamount to challenging a deity. Coming to terms with that is already a difficult step to take.
So what are we gonna do?
Well, for the moment, all we can do is try and reduce the harm that is being caused by this decree. For example, by providing vision bearers with safe refuge, or manufacturing counterfeit visions for them as a contingency measure.
You're telling Paimon that there are people out there who can make fake visions?
Don't underestimate the talents of the craftspeople in Hanamizaka. To the naked eye, their counterfeits are indistinguishable from the genuine article.
Keep these here.
What?
Then you might want to take them home.
What?
The dog bowls.
Yeah, I'm going to. If you can remind me in the morning, that'd be great.
The problem we are facing right now is that Master Masakatsu, who was providing us with counterfeit visions, has recently been arrested by the Tenryou Commission.
I might leave it here, actually, for when I bring him over.
Darn! So they found out about
I
it?
might leave it here so whenever I bring him over.
Yes. We knew it was not a long-term solution, and that it was only a matter of... Exactly. I feel the same way. But given mine and Toma's identities as part of the Yashiro Commission, breaking him out of prison would risk dragging down the reputation of the entire Kamisato clan should we be caught. That would only serve to cast suspicion on any future activity we might seek to attempt. By no means do we intend to place the burden of such a task on your shoulders alone. When you are ready, go to Hanamizaka and look for a fireworks shop run by the Naganohara family. There, you will find someone who can help you.
Alright guys, I appreciate everyone who's been watching. This is Only Free Bro. I'm going to be signing off for tonight. We got a whole bunch of people who are going to be joining, so please like, subscribe. I'm going to be doing my best to try to get a computer so that I can start editing and doing things for you guys. So whenever you guys get a chance, if you could check out my PayPal and donate to me if you have any extra money, I appreciate it to get to me to that point to where I can start editing and streaming from a computer. Love you guys so much. I'm going to be working on my studio tomorrow.
I take my meals cold to quiet the spirit and calm my vital energies.
So I appreciate all
Genshin infused water with ice is the most effective.
Great night and Happy New Year.